5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition. Strap in. You're about to listen to the hottest sounds in the mix.
Hello, welcome to the Nina Monique Show on InTheMixRadio.com. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday. Hello. So today is a very influential show for Women's Month. And I have some special guests here with me today. Some women who I've met along my journey of getting to where I am now, who definitely influenced and inspired me, encouraged me, and was my support system in me becoming or trying to become who I am now. So I'm definitely happy to have these women in the studio with me. I personally feel, especially learning while I was getting my business off the ground, it's very important to have people who think like you, who want to achieve goals like you, and who want to influence and empower others. So I'm definitely happy to have these women here, and we're going to talk about their business, their journey of how they got to where they are now. And before I do anything, I want to say to Lauren, Katia, and Leslie, I love all three of you very much, and just thank you for always helping me out and being the ear whenever I wanted someone to talk to. I greatly appreciate that. And today on the Nina Monique Show, I want you guys to shine and talk about your business, and all of you deserve it. So before we get started, I wanted to do a few acknowledgments of events that are influential that took place and are taking place. And I also want to acknowledge individuals who are very influential also, starting with Miss Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. I think a lot of people may not have agreed with a lot of things that they did as far as, with politics, but I personally loved every minute of them being in office, and they are very influential, and I wish them all the best in whatever it is that they do from here on out. And the picture that's up now is when they celebrated the anniversary of the walking from Selma to Montgomery, which was for voting rights for people of color to be able to vote. And that was the anniversary that took place. Also, Coretta Scott King and Dr. Martin Luther King, who basically started the march from Selma to Montgomery, and all the things that they had to endure along that walk. Very influential. Because of them, we are able to vote, even though there's still a lot of stuff going on with that. So thank you to them. Also, Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz, who Malcolm X I greatly appreciate, and the things that he talked about. A lot of people didn't agree with what he said, but a lot of things that he said you could see happening now. So I definitely appreciate them and what they did also. To the kids that marched this week for gun control, I applaud you. You're very influential also, and I do hope that everyone listened to what you would like to see change, because you are the future, and hopefully you will be sitting in Congress and being, a president of the United States and doing everything to try and make change. To the parents who have to endure the pain of losing a child to gun violence, you're always in my prayers, and I'm sorry you have to experience things like that. And last but not least, rest in peace to Craig Mack. Yes. Definitely an influential person in hip hop, bad boy. Mm-hmm. I remember the first time hearing that song, and my mother was like, "Oh my God, I love that song. Turn that up." Yes. So rest in peace to Craig Mack, and thank you for your contribution to hip hop. Mm-hmm. And to start the show, I would like to have Katia tell us a little bit about the Lipedema Queen and her nonprofit. So, Katia, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on your show today, Nina.
No problem.
So nice to meet y'all, lovely ladies. And the Lipedema Queen was started in 2016. We had our launch that June 12th of 2016, and we did it at the Rutgers University at our first annual Curves Meets Courage Conference. The reason why I started that nonprofit was because women with lipedema, a lot of times, they don't have the money. Insurance don't cover the treatments, the compressions, the supplements and the vitamins and the surgeries. It doesn't cover anything. And so many women is suffering because they can't get the very necessities that they need to help prolong their lives and the quality of life. That's the main thing, the quality of life. Mm-hmm. And with a disease that is, one, no cure for, but you can at least get the bare essentials that can at least keep you from progressing and being able to have a decent life without as much suffering. Mm-hmm. It's already bad enough. Over 17 million women in the United States has it. Mm-hmm. A lot of us don't know because it mimics obesity. And what really drove home for me to start this was because my mother passed away in 2015 to complications to lipedema. And she was an early stage woman. Mm-hmm. And I'm stage 4 myself. And to see that even a early stage woman could pass away from this, it was just a blessing that I'm still here and to have a voice to be able to start the nonprofit so that more women could get some of these things that they need. We're still young. It'll be 2 years this year of us of being open and doing things, and it's just amazing that we was able to get compressions and some supplements and other things for women. We've gotten other donations in to help women who can't afford to even buy clothing, because this, if you think about it, a pair of compression stockings is like $1,200 if you have to get custom, and that's expensive. The surgeries can run you upward $10,000 to $15,000 each, and the average woman has to at least have 4. I already had 4. I still got at least 9 more to go. So it just shows you that if you add all that up and then you add up every month, you spend about $150 in your supplements. And then if you have any other medicines that they have to give you with hormones, and they don't cover your hormones on insurance, so that's another maybe $100, $120. Now, if a woman, the disease gets so bad and you can't work no more, there's no way in the world you can afford to get what you need on disability. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. And not everybody had decent jobs where they might have had stocks, where they was able to take out and buy some of the stuff that they need. So that was the main purpose of me starting the Lipedema Queen, so that the women who doesn't have those options, who don't have the money, don't have family they could go back to, or can't take out loans and get things or whatever, or credit cards or whatever. This is what this is for. And also to be able to show them that even though you had this disease, you can still live a good life. You can still do what you want. And you just have to go about it different ways. You might be a little bit slower. You might can't do it like everybody else, but the point is you still get to the finish line at the end. Mm-hmm. So that's the main thing. I'm only now helping that, but I'm also giving them hope that you can still live a good life. Mm-hmm. Even me at stage 4, I still travel. I still go out there and I help other people, because I don't want nobody to suffer like how I did, and I surely don't want nobody to end up like how my mother did. So that was one of the big reasons.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to establish your nonprofit?
It came to me in my heart of March of 2015 that I wanted to start it. Mm-hmm. So me and my board, it took us, I did the paperwork in April. By June, we was pretty much up. But that was literally nonstop grinding every day as far as getting the paperwork, getting everything that we needed together, in order to launch the nonprofit. It was a lot of work, and also putting our paperwork through so we could get our 501c. And by July, we had our 501c approved. So like I said, everybody is different, but it all depends on how hard you really grind and the passion you have for it. And because I really wanted to do this, that's why the passion was there, you know, because I have women, you know, call and I see in some of the support groups and I see the suffering and I see the need. And because I suffer with it, I know how bad it could be, you know, and not everybody could be as strong as some. You know, some people can handle a lot of pressure. You know, pressure makes diamonds, but some people might not get to the diamond stage before it crushes them. So that was the main purpose of trying to do that, so I can get to some that we could try to help before it gets too late.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the show that you had on TLC?
They did a documentary called My Legs Won't Stop Growing. It was me and 2 other young ladies, and my segment was about lipedema, and they followed me for like a couple of weeks, and a day in the life of, you know, a woman who has lipedema, and just showing that even though you have this, you can still live, you can still work out, you can still travel, you can still have love, you can, you know. And also, they also highlighted, they actually take my surgery and everything, and it showed the procedure, how it is, and letting people know, like, look, this isn't no easy surgery. And a lot of times with the surgery, they think it's cosmetic because they had to do it as almost a liposuction, but that's the more non-invasive way of going in, taking out the diseased tissues out of our body, so that people will stop getting sick, stop catching infections, and also stop from blood clots, because this disease could cause blood clots. It could cause lymphedema, which is the disorder of your lymphatic system. It could cause so many things, heart failure because of the fluid backing up, and cellulitis and staph infection, because if you get a slight cut, we automatically catch infections and it's impossible to get rid of. So it highlighted all the struggles and the triumphs that can be with a woman who suffers with lipedema, and that's what my segment was on TLC.
Do you have any more documentaries that you'll be filming?
We was in talks of doing some other stuff, but it's still in the air right now. But I definitely would like to keep lipedema out in the forefront, so that more women can see it, because it's imperative. Because the younger and the earlier you catch the disease, the better off you are to stop the progression. That's the whole thing, is to try to slow it down. And it's easier to come back from an earlier stage than it is from a later stage, because sometimes once you get later, the tissue turns fibrotic and it hardens. And it's like when they have to operate on you, it's like them digging. And I'm up during my surgeries. So not everybody can handle being up and feeling what you're feeling for, you know, an hour or so while you're on the table. So the main goal, the main purpose is to catch it early and not later, so that you don't have to go through as many surgeries and have to do 10 to 13 surgeries. That's a lot on a person's body.
Yes. And I have to say that Katia is a very strong woman. She's a wonderful person with a great heart too. And just watching her go through the things that she go through with lipedema, I commend her and I applaud her, because like she said, everyone is not built to endure that. And I know for me, I would probably be like, oh, I just give up. Right. So I definitely applaud you, and I just congratulate you on everything that you do to help people.
Thank you.
And I'm definitely, whatever you need to do, whatever you need me to do to help, you just have to let me know. Like if it's coming on the show talking about something that you're doing for lipedema, please like reach out and tell me, and I'll gladly help.
I thank you so much.
No problem. So also we have Miss Leslie. So Leslie, could you please tell everyone a little bit about your journey to get to where you are now?
Yes, so my name is Leslie Garcia, founder of Counseling Space. I'm a mental health clinician. So basically, I am the CEO's counselor. So get your mind right while you're building your legacy. I'm all about helping CEOs to build with wellness. And I've always been an advocate. I've always really been into healthcare. When I was a little girl, I said I wanted to help people from the inside. So that was basically I guess I wanted to be a doctor, but I'm still, I feel, helping people from the inside and just really lead with wellness and be mindful of their mental health.
That's very important because I could tell you from me being someone who have a business, it gets tough at times. And Leslie, you know, because you and I be on the phone too. And I'll be like, oh, I hope I'm not draining her ears off.
Behind the scenes is real.
Because it's hard and not everyone understands what it takes to run a successful business or try to have a successful business, especially when it comes to the financial part of it. And you're trying, like, you may have a full-time job, but your goal is to get out of that full-time job. And you're trying to figure out a way to bring in money through your business because you really, really, really want to stand on your own 2 feet. So there's, you know, a lot that go along with having your own business. So what you're doing is very much needed, and I truly commend you on that. And thank you so much for having your business.
There's so much behind the scenes.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand when you open a business, you always hear, oh, you can do this in 2 weeks, or you can have $1 million in 2 days. And we talk on the phone, the stress, the sweat. People don't really have an idea, and it takes a toll on you mentally. So I want to create that space. A lot of the women are type A, beautiful, brilliant, but they don't have that space to talk about what's going on behind the scenes. So I want to create that space for them.
And that's very important because when people say they want to start their own business, I always say, go ahead, like, get on it. But understand there's so much that go behind it. And for me, I think the biggest thing for me is time management. You have to be able to manage your time. I live in Jersey and I work in New York. And a lot of people know that I'm in investment banking. And it's difficult to try and work a full-time job, commute, and come home and try to sustain and maintain your business. Like, that's very hard, but I do what I can, and I know sometimes, you know, I may not be putting enough effort into it, but I do what I can because at the same time, I don't want to, you know, stress myself out with things. So, you know, I do the best I can, and you have to have that mind frame of what your end goal is, and you have to keep at it. No matter how long it takes, you have to keep at it. So thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Next up is Lauren.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello. Tell everyone about your business.
Okay, well.
And how you got there.
All right. So I'm Lauren Wells, but LC.Thriva as everybody calls me. I have 2 businesses, crazy enough. So I started my first health and fitness business, LC Fits You, 5 years ago. And I started that, so full out journey. Okay. So I started the journey. I was actually fed up after graduating school, following what everybody says, get good grades, go to school, you know, all those things like that. And once I got the job in my field, it was all cool. But then I'm like, okay, my student loan's debt is like beyond what my income is, and I was like, is this life? Like, is this is what it is?
Always
like,
ask that.
So I'm supposed to stay here till like I'm 40, 50, 60. And I think at the time, like, what, the retire age was 62. I'm 23.
Yes.
Like 40 years.
Yes.
So for me, I think the big click was once I found out the highest pay of someone who was in my position, the potential I can make was only $4 more an hour than I can make. I was like, I gotta get the heck out of here. I was like, okay, all right, pause.
Yes.
I was
know.
I need to figure out something else. And I really didn't know. I felt like I was in a panic state. Like, I felt like I went through, what's that? When you have, like,
Midlife
a mental
crisis.
breakdown, midlife crisis at 23, you know?
Yes.
And I was just like, all right, trying to figure out what it was. And, of course, you know, student loans, they come harass you 6 months after school. So I started working, and then I'm like, I can't. I remember, you know, talking to people. Yeah, like, I'm like, I can't do this. So I actually enlisted into the Navy. Crazy enough, my brother tried to get me to enroll through college and things like that. And I was like, absolutely not. But when you got them student loan debts and you just, like, you feeling like you did everything you're supposed to do.
Yes.
And you go on a life and live this happy life that people say. I was just like, okay, this isn't it. So I felt like I was just running. You know what I mean? And I just kind of was just trying to figure out anything to keep my head above float, but, you know, just trying to figure out. So at that time, it was just student loan debt. What can I do? So I took on the opportunity to go towards the Navy. I trained for 9 months and everything, cut my hair off, quit my job.
Oh.
I had a little, you know those little, like, book bags, the drawstring book bags?
Yep.
I had that book bag with, like, 4 or 5 pairs of white underwear and white socks, a Bible, a little small Bible, and a phone book with just the important phones, because you can't have your phone. You can't have anything. Your life is over to, you know, the government. And I got kicked out. So I did all of that, got there, time's supposed to go, and I injured my leg. I burnt my leg, and I didn't realize when you signed that documentation that you were giving your life over to the U.S. Navy. It's not your body. You there. Wow. So I'm healthy. I can move. I can work out. I showed up in Brooklyn. You know, you got to be down to your underwear and your panties. So I can't hide it. And I mean, my officer, my chief officer did say, he was like, you might have a problem with that, but you still have to report. And he was like, what? The doctor was like, what's that bandage on your leg? I'm like, a burn. And he's like, you can't go. Like, I was supposed to go May 5th, Cinco de Mayo 2010, actually. And I was supposed to go, and he was like, 2 weeks, come back. But here's the thing. If you're waiting for a job, they'll hit you up and be like, hey, Nina, we got this job ready to leave. We were supposed to have another seller go. Are you ready? And you're like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out of my mom. They're going to take you, and they're going to boot me. So I thank the U.S. Navy for kicking me out, because I would just be finishing my contract this year. Wow. So it's so funny. I would just be finishing my contract this year. And now I'm back to square one, I worked with adults that had mental disabilities, went back to the field. A little better of a program, but it still wasn't, and it was just a little bit more money, you know what I mean? But it wasn't much at all. I wasn't even making $30,000 living in New York City. That's impossible. So I'm like, this is, like, here we go again. This is it? What am I supposed to do? It took me a while, and I knew at that time when that bizarre, the whole Navy experience, what I had to go through, the mental, you know, the mental game, because you got to get yourself ready. All that time that it took me to do that, I knew it was a mission, but I didn't figure out why. It took 3 years later for me to really realize that given all the skills I had, that's how I met you. I was in entrepreneur, started going into entrepreneur stuff again.
We met in the fabric store.
I will share in a second how I ran up with her. But yeah, so I'm back in the place of trying to figure out, like, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, you know, I'm doing all the things, and I'm still just not fulfilled what I'm supposed to be doing. I worked in the field for a while, but it was literally 12 months again, and I'm like at the same place. Like, I can't do this. I don't know where else to go. And I remember telling my supervisor I had a dream. I just straight up was like, I gotta go. I have to quit. And she was like, well, do you have something lined up? I said, no, but there's something bigger out there for me.
Yes.
Like, I had to go.
Cruz, can you applause that for us?
I was
Thank
like, there's
you.
something so much bigger. I don't know what. I was scared as hell. And I still didn't know to start the business. I just took the leap, and that's when I started getting into entrepreneurship. I was actually the Mary Kay lady.
Yeah, I remember that too.
That's how I met Nina. I rolled up on her, and I was like, she looks cute. Like, hey, you know, what are you doing? And we just always kept in contact. So that's how I met Nina. I was like the crazy Mary Kay girl, trying to make Mary Kay look like the young thing, you know. So, you know, through that process of I knew from if nothing failed, I mean, because most people would feel like a failure. And I'm
Yes,
pretty sure if you work
yes.
with those who have mental issues, I would have definitely went through a serious mental breakdown. You know, when you're preparing and you give everything away and get to that point. But I knew it built me for something.
Yes.
And it took me a
Yes.
little while. And then,
Yes.
you know, getting into entrepreneurship, really building personal development,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the birth came. I had a friend who finally, because even though I never worked out before the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
like, girl, the only time I was in somebody's gym was just because my friends was there, or I was just trying to see who was up in the gym being nosy. I think I ran on the track one time, and that's because we were tipsy, so I never worked out. So it's like my friends laugh like, oh my God, you're the fitness and the health guru now. Like, you know, I used to be like, catch me in the calf. You already went to the calf, Lauren. Oh, well, go ahead. You know? So I took all those experience, you know, as far as, you know, the Navy, the one thing it built was a better, like, health. Like, I had health issues or whatever. I had thyroid problems, didn't know. And, you know, working out and doing all those things, I finally kept working out. And I never in my mind thought that you can start a career helping other people do that. And then I finally just took the leap. I literally was like, I'm going back to CUNY. I went to CUNY. I had to go to school still because I didn't want to do an online program. And I was like, I want to go and start that. And 20 months later, I went and started working at a high-end gym. 20 months later, LC.Thriva started. Nice. And I started my my fitness business. And I'm surprised. I never thought it would go that way, but the thing is, I had to really pay attention to every experience and what was happening, what was God telling me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the one thing like I said, I definitely thank the Navy. It definitely told me anything I sat there and put my mind to, I could do. Because if I was ready to give my life away to somebody I don't even know, you know what I mean? Like I that's something that really made me just drive for that. And then it rolled over to over the years, I've always helped and mentored, you know, women. People came to me all the time for business ideas, and I definitely didn't ignore those signs because people used to come to me for health stuff. Right. And I was like, all right. So I just was always helping people, like, figure out, like, you know, what do they want to do, help them inspire, help them, you know, really see the power within themselves and living their best lives and things like that. And I still do that within fitness, but then Thrive Abundantly was birthed. To, you know, helping inspire others to do what they do. So it was a crazy roller coaster.
Yeah, that's the journey. We go through journeys. Yeah. So, and I think people have to appreciate those journeys and take those lessons and understand that everything is not going to happen overnight. There's something in each experience that you go through that you're supposed to carry along with you to help you push along in the goal that you're trying to reach. So on that note, I have one more guest. Is Miss Malagrios here? Yes. Come on in here, girl.
Another seat?
Can you share the microphone with Katia?
Yeah.
Or if you want to try.
There you go. Right here?
Can she cruise? Is there a way she could? But will she be able to be on the screen? Okay. 1 second, everyone. So while Miss Malagrios is getting set up. Everyone, this is Miss Malagrios. Hello. This is Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
This is Lauren. Hi, and Miss Katia Page. You two, I think, really gonna be talking because Katia, as I mentioned, Miss Malagrios want to write a book.
Okay.
So
do I.
So yes. And Katia, we're gonna talk about that in a few moments too. Okay. But Lauren.
Yes.
Talking about mentoring people with their business. Tell us about your podcast.
Oh, okay. So I have a podcast called Thrive Abundantly Radio. It's on Anchor, SoundCloud, and you can also get access on my website, which is thrivewithlc.com, or if you find me on Anchor and Anchor FM and SoundCloud is LC.Thriva, so LC.Thriva. And basically, it's a platform for women entrepreneurs, inspiring women entrepreneurs to really help to elevate their mind, body, spirit, and finance. I feel like my journey has really built the foundation in those 4 pillars. And I talk about everything along those lines on the show.
I listened to one of them, and you was talking about before you start your business, you have to know exactly what it is you want to start. Like, can you get a little bit into that? Like, how important it is to know what type of business you want to get into? Because a lot of people just come into something, and it may not be something that they really want to do. And it's like, in my opinion, you have to have a passion. Oh, look at Miss Malagrios. Wait a minute.
She's at the front end there.
Hi, guys. Oh, my God. I love this. This is, like, so cool.
Lauren, we're going to come back to that question.
Yeah, sure.
I want to jump into Miss Malagrios because her story is very interesting, and I think it's very important that women know their worth, and they know that they can do anything that they want to do, and they should never let someone distract them or tell them that they're worth less or anything like that. So a little bit of background of Miss Malagrios. First, I want to say congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Because she just signed with Rough Riders Radio.
Yes.
She have her own show.
April 6th, Rough Rider Radio.
So congratulations to that.
Thank you.
And you walked in New York Fashion Week.
Twice.
Yes. And you also walked for London
and Milan Fashion Weeks.
What was that like for you?
Oh, my God. That was everything. Like, one thing about going overseas, it's nothing like over here. Like, the people are just, they're a little snobbish in London because they feel like we're, like, fashionably not in the loop. They're, like, 5 years more than us in fashion, and we don't speak proper English. We actually speak broken English according to them. Like, when we be like, oh, let me get a cup of tea over there, can I get a spot of tea? I picked up one of those, let me get a spot of tea. So they look, but it's really like the race issues over there are not like over here. Like, there's no color barrier, over there. In Milan as well, and everything was just all love, and like how the South is with the Southern hospitality, it's like that over there. So yeah.
How long is the flight?
7.5 hours.
Oh, that's a work day.
Definitely a work day. When it's nighttime over here, it's daytime over there. When it's daytime over here, it's nighttime over there. So I'm still getting used to that. I feel like a baby right now that doesn't know their day and night. You know what I mean? I'm super tired right now. At night, I'll be turned up. Like, but it was very nice. It was nice.
How long were you over there? Just for a couple of days? Or?
I was over there for 4 or 5 days. Yeah, because I was in London. Yeah, it was 5 days. I was in London for maybe 2.5 days, and then in Milan for the rest.
Nice. Now, I read you only been modeling for a year, and you already signed with a modeling agency, and you did some big shoots.
Actually, it haven't even been a year.
Oh.
But we'll say it's a year because this April will be a year. But yes, I got picked by 99 Modeling agency back in, I'm going to say probably April 10th or something like that. I know it's the beginning of April. And right away, I hit the ground running. My first shoot was H&M in May. And they put me on a billboard from June to August.
Nice.
Yes, I was at their flagship store on Times Square on a billboard outside the store and inside the store.
Very nice.
People, like, from my hometown, like my cousin Bean, shout out to him, and a couple of others. Was like, oh my God, I seen you down on the billboard. My girlfriends was in the store one day shopping. They was like, oh my God, look. I took pictures and gave it to me or whatever. So yeah, and then I did Victoria's Secrets this a week before Christmas. That will come out this holiday for Victoria's Secret pop-up. So I'll be in their magazine and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I actually just did a magazine shoot in February. So this will be my second magazine shoot for Fire New York, coming out in June or July. So
very nice
for that. And I'm traveling. I'll be going to Atlanta Fashion Week soon. I'll be going to Miami Fashion Week. Hawaii Fashion Week is in July, and Canada.
Nice.
I'll be going to. So yeah.
Congrats to all of that.
Yes.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
One question I have is, what influenced you to get into modeling?
Well, I've always been told that I could model, but I thought people were just like exaggerating because first and foremost, Nina, you know me. Like, you see how short I am, right? So I've always watched short on. But most of my, like when you watch fashion shows, I've always been, they're tall and skinny, and I've always been skinny, but I've always been short. I've been 5 feet since I was probably 13, 14. I haven't grown.
Yeah, I'm
since
the same since 8th
right.
grade.
right. Since a teenager. So I'm just like, okay, people are like really like, it was mostly guys. I'm like, they're just gassing me. Like they're just trying to, overly, soothe my ego or something because the fashion show. No, seriously, because I'm like the fashion shows that I watch for, Victoria's Secret and back then it was Mercedes-Benz back then and all that. The models was 5'8" and up. You know what I'm saying? And wasn't a lot of African American models back then. It was just really Naomi, Beverly, and Tyga. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, and definitely wasn't no Latino. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, these guys are, but I was dating a guy by the name of MC Kev. His real name is Kevin Vio. Shout out to him. And he was telling me, he told me recently, this was like last year before last, like, listen, you can model. And I was like, I'm tired of hearing that. Like, models are tall. And he's like, no, you can be a model for like print and billboard and commercial. He was like, because when a photographer is taking pictures of you, like for a catalog or for, a commercial and TV, they don't really can tell how tall you are. So I was like, oh, okay. So he was like, yeah, let me make a couple of calls for you or whatever, because he used to be like someone in the industry. He was a rapper or whatever, so he knew a couple of people. So he did, but in the process of him making those calls, his heart was there. I was putting up other pictures of me on Facebook, and just so happened, I guess it's God's plan, this modeling agency by the name of 99 had seen 2 of my pictures that they liked, so they inboxed me.
Nice.
And was like, would you mind coming in for an interview? Da 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 da. Be like, you look, blah blah blah. And the rest is God's plan. God's plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. So, his people came a little later, but I was already,
Right. Very
I was
nice.
already ripping the show with 99. So, shout out to 99 and my modeling agency, Rixa.
Nice.
So, yeah. But I do that. I started acting, though, before that. Like, I started acting for a web series called MXM Music and Movie. Shout out to my brothers, Mecca Earn and Dev and Saucy and Joe Long and Mark. Mecca Earn, who's the director, he found me again on Instagram and Facebook, and he liked my look, and he had a vision for me for this web series. So I play a dirty cop. Like I don't know if you guys ever watch Power, but I play like a Valdez.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm doing that. So I started that November of 2016. So I've been that ongoing fictional character since 2016, off of some Malagrios. I've been
nice.
And then another one picked me up, Racketeering Films. He's from Mount Vernon, Todd Lucky Johnson. And I play a drug dealer's wife by the name of Adanya. Me and my co-worker Colin Watson, shout out to him. He was Lace. And we did very well. It was a lot of chemistry there, but nothing for real. That's just my guy. But and then I did True Life. I did Money and Violence. But not as strong characters on these 2 web series, but definitely was on a couple of times. So that I guess prepared me for modeling because I had to be behind a camera in a different way.
Very nice. What was it like when you saw your picture on the billboard for the first time? Like, what was the
I was
feeling?
It was exhilarating. I mean, you know, first of all, if I may, like, I had a low self-esteem when I was a teenager. I don't know how many of us were. Like, when I was young,
We all had
when I was young, I was molested by someone that was, you know, really close to me. I'm not gonna divulge, but you know, he molested me for a while. So you know, I always didn't feel the best of myself. You know, I used to wear, like, I was skinny, like I said, because I was an athlete. I was an athlete since I was probably like 11. You know what I mean? Younger than that, because my mother had me in ballet from 5. But in any case. You know, I used to wear like spandex underneath my jeans. Like, I used to layer up with clothes.
That was like your protection.
Right. It was like more of a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Then I got raped when I was 16.
Wow.
So, you know, it just, on top of that, it was, you know, really even more. I was already a troubled youth. So on top of that, being raped and beat up as I was being raped, you know, I just didn't feel what everybody else felt. Like, I was pretty, and I never really felt that about myself. You know what I mean? So I be looking at my photos, Miss Nina, and I be like, who in the hell is that? Who's that?
It's like a
a
rebel, like you're rebelling against some of the things.
Yeah.
Because you always have to try and come out on top.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you know, then being in a domestic violence relationship, because I probably could have did this a little earlier on, but that wasn't good either for my high self-esteem. You know what I mean? So, you know, everything, I guess, is timing, and the timing was right, because look, now it's curvy models, right? It's petite models, you know what I mean? Back then, it wasn't none of that. It wasn't petite. It wasn't curvy. It wasn't, you know, different kind of lanes in modeling, like hair models or tattoo models or, you know, this type of model. You know, you have so many different lanes in modeling.
Right.
It's just not high end, you know, the tall and skinny, so to speak. So I say this to say, God's plan. Like, it was just time, and it wasn't my time then, because I wasn't ready, you know, on the inside, and probably not on the outside either. I was a little aggressive, rough around the edges because of, you know, these experiences that I just said. So I wasn't ready as a teenager. I wasn't ready in my early 20s either. You know what I'm saying? Being in a domestic violence marriage and stuff like that. Like, I wasn't ready. So now, newly divorced, and, well, not newly, but, you know, 10 years and separated, and, you know, I got my swagger back. Got my shine back. I guess it was, you know, I guess Jehovah felt fit for me to, you know, do this. And then my girlfriend had passed away, who I was telling you about when we did my bio. Her name is Glennis Pinto. She's from Mount Vernon. And she always, like, from young, we always dressed, though. We was always dressed. I was always into fashion. I loved fashion. Like, back then, Louis Vuitton and MCM, like, I had it back then. Like, not just now. Like, you know, Gucci, all that stuff. And, you know, she always dressed a little better than me. I will say that. Like, she always had her stuff before me. She always had the Jordans before me. So my sneakerhead, this girl here, I don't know, you and her, y'all might be twins, Cruz, you know. But she always, and I was always, like, not in competition with her, but I was always, like, you know what I'm saying, trying to keep up.
Right.
Like, keeping up with the Kardashians. I was always trying to keep up with Glennis, God rest her soul, and my cousin, LaToya, too. So, you know, she always wanted to be a model, but for whatever reason, you know, she didn't go for it. So when he told me that, I was like, you know, I always wanted to do something in memory of her, besides, like, taking on her son, who's now my son, Nasir. Shout out to him and his daughter, Danny Lynn. But I always wanted to do something else big for her, you know, to keep her memory going, and to make sure, like, nobody forgets her. And I'm like, you know, when he said that, Kevin, I thought about it, you know, for a couple of days, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that for Glennis. You know what I'm saying? So that's what inspired me, more or less.
Nice.
Glennis.
See, that's the thing of what Lauren and I was just talking about. That journey that you have to take, and sometimes those like
detours,
yes,
everything.
and sometimes like those experiences that we have to encounter, it's like, why do I have to go through this? Like this is killing me. Like why?
Gosh, yes.
But then when you get to where you're trying to get to, you're like, okay, I understand it a little bit now, but like you said, sometimes you're still not ready.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to come into your purpose. And I think for all of us, that's, what we had to do. And I commend you.
You had to be birthed.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, let me tell you, it's still a process for me.
Yeah,
Like,
always.
That'll never go. Everything.
You know how you were saying, you ask yourself, like, why do you have to? I still, like, be like, because some people I see moving a little further than me, a little faster than me. We all do, like, and I'm like, oh, their journey was so, much easier. Why is mine's, why am I still, struggling? I'm moving, but I'm struggling as I'm moving, But, it's like my mom told me last night, like, God gives, the toughest warriors, the toughest battles, because they know He knows that you'll see fit. He's never gonna give you too much you can bear, because last night I was just going through something, and the devil is always working, and I was feeling kind of not coming today because I'm still upset about it, very much upset. But I was like, nah, I said my prayer today. I spoke to my little sister, or whatever, and I was just like, nah, I'm not even gonna let that, get a hold of my character, or, take any hold of my spirit. Like, I'm gonna come out and I'm still, have this interview, because the stuff that I'm saying needs to be said anyway. And that probably was the devil, trying to keep my mouth shut, because these things I haven't really spoke about, except for my girlfriend passing away, or whatever the case may be, which I didn't really get into detail with that. But I'm just saying, these other things that I just shared with you guys on national radio, I really never even spoke about, except with, a couple of family members and a psychiatrist. You know what I'm saying? So
But that's where your breakthrough comes
Yeah,
from,
exactly.
when you open up in a bigger space, because you don't know how much what you're going through and the things that help the next person. You know what I mean? And that's where it's
the
like
healing
the flow,
begins
the healing,
from
yes. It's kind of like you got to peel that Band-Aid off. You can't keep putting a Band-Aid on to cover the wound, or things like that. You let people see your scars.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It kind of opens up, and a lot of times people aren't being transparent enough. They're hiding behind. Like, I commend you for even opening the show, and having this kind of open
Definitely.
platform, because everybody thinks everything's cute and pretty, and no, it's not.
Right.
Like, so it's definitely needed for you to go through that and not, have an open forum and talk about those things and go through it, because it's always a process. I mean, whatever you want to do, it's like you're birthing something new, right? So as we're birthed, we got to go through the life of the process. So that's just like any kind of gift that you have, anything that you have the ambition that you want to go for is birthed, and then you got to raise this baby.
Exactly.
It's like that with everything. Whatever new thing, when you start your model career and you birth that, you gotta raise that baby.
Right.
You start getting into acting, you gotta raise that baby. You gotta keep raising your baby. I mean, all of us are grown. My mama's still here. She still raised me. So, what do you think as far as your gifts? You still gotta keep raising. And if there's things like when you just said, why am I still going through that or whatever? There's still some raising to do. There's still some things, you know what I mean?
There's always room for more transformation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's always room for more transformation.
Yeah.
You never get to something. I think that's the thing we always think when we get to a destination. I mean, I know that's why it was such a shock for me. Like, I'm thinking, all right, ooh, we get out of high school, boom, college.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Right. At the college, okay, cool. No, okay. So,
no, exactly.
Oh, you know what I mean? And we haven't even got to, so it's always growth.
something.
Always.
What
Until
were you
there's
gonna
breath in
say?
your body.
No, what I was trying to say, with anything, there's always room for transformation. Even in my life, I had a rough life. You look at me, you probably think, oh, she probably no.
Yeah. Me too. You wouldn't have thought the things I told you, but you can't judge a book by its cover, right?
You can never judge a book by its cover. You would have never known I came from a home, like, my very first years when I lived in Florida was beautiful. My father was in the Navy. My parents were married. Oh, it was beautiful. The moment my parents got divorced and we touched back in Jersey, baby, I was looking for the plane. Like, is we going back? No, it really got rough. I mean, from watching my mother go through domestic abuse with the new boyfriend. And I never saw my father even yell at my mom, let alone hit my mother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My mother into drugs, somebody slipping something on her, become mentally ill, almost killing herself.
Yeah.
I've been through some stuff.
Me too.
You know, and sexual abuse. But luckily I was able to fight it. But I'm telling you, I've been through things. And I used to be like, God, like, what's going on here? Why you keep hitting me like this? Not knowing.
Right.
Later down the road, that was going to be needed for what's to come in my life.
Yeah.
That was my boot camp, so to say.
Right.
That was boot camp.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if you really going to be able to battle some
Even
dragons later on in life, you going to have to go through some things.
Right.
And you're going to be able to have some really thick skin.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, the world can throw some many harsh things at you.
Right.
And you got to be able to stand up and don't back down.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for the things that I went through, there's no way I could have helped so many of my friends and families through extreme situations.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And each time you go through something, a part of you dies, but something else is birthed from that. You understand what I'm saying?
I believe that.
Yeah.
You understand?
I believe that.
There's
I believe that
always, it's like a
wholeheartedly.
resurrection in a sense. Something else is getting ready to come from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's sometimes, if you going through something, baby girl, right now, that guess what? You're about to go through another transformation.
It's like my mom and my dad said, that with every new level, there's a new devil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And them devils get more evil.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we live in a cold world, so you
Yes.
just better bundle up. Like, people who you think are the sheep are really the wolf, and people who are really the wolves are the sheep. And
Yeah.
it's
Gotta put
just
the big girl
like,
draws
you
on.
know. I mean, seriously, like, if you find people who are genuine and sincere and are truly, down for you, flaws and all, like, you better keep them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
It's more people out here that are smoke screening you
Yes.
for their own ulterior motives or whatever the hell is really going on in their souls. There's people out here that don't even believe in God or the Christ, period. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a war regardless.
Yeah.
It's more of a religious war.
Right.
Yeah.
Besides the wars that, Trump and all them, like, it's a religious war going on out here between good and bad people
Yeah.
and souls. Like,
Yep.
seriously, you know what I mean? And that's what's really going on out here. But if you find genuine and sincere and loyal people, you better hold on to them because it's not that many out here
Yes.
at all.
Yes.
I
And that goes for men and women.
You
Like,
could
there's
tell
no-
them. You could tell
you
them.
know.
You could see
Yeah,
when something ain't right.
Because
You do get signs, but
if that hair in the back
you
of your-
ignore them. Exactly.
Listen, when that hair
You
start
ignore
going
them.
up in the back of your neck and your stomach just ain't feeling right, and you looking at them sideways, 9 times out of 10, that's somebody you better, how you say, keep at arm distance. Hello, how are you? Gotta go. That's it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
Don't divulge too much. Listen.
Exactly.
Don't let nobody know that you don't care what everybody else can find out. That's my
Right.
whole rule of
Right.
thought.
Never let your left know what your right
You
is.
understand what I'm saying?
That's a
So
fact.
that's the whole key thing of it is.
Yeah.
If you're an open book, you don't have nothing to worry about to begin with.
Exactly.
But if it's something that you don't want out, keep
Right.
your mouth
Keep it to
shut.
yourself, because people only have power over you if you give it to them.
That's
Yes.
it.
Anyway,
Yes.
you know what I mean? They can't. They're powerless if you don't give it to them.
That's
So,
true.
you know.
And I admire for you taking your struggle to your strength.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of times, that's sometimes we need to struggle for us to know what
Yes.
how strong we
Yes.
are. When you're in your
Yes.
comfort zone,
Which I have been in for years.
how do you-
Which was a fog.
how do you learn about yourself, right?
Yeah,
When you're in
you
your
don't
I
comfort
didn't know
zone.
myself
Yeah.
as a teenager. I actually didn't know myself until I left my ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
All those years, I was thinking I was like this, but and I'm not saying I wasn't. Those are probably pieces of me, but that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
The whole me. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And I'm still going through a journey where I'm learning my personal self.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
My inner being, like the type of person that I am, and the type of person that I want to be moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just not this level. Like, it's levels. You know what I'm saying? Screw the song. It's levels. Like, so, like she said about transformation, I think you said it too. Like, and that's what we go through every time, we're leveling up.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a positive way. We're going through a transformation, probably like a snake shedding a skin. Not to use it in that time or form of terminology, but I'm just saying, right? Or a caterpillar with the butterfly metamorphosis, so to speak. So,
I like that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's stick with that one, right? So then I'm like, she's a snake. I'm not a caterpillar either. Right.
We got you though. We got you.
Right. But you got what I was saying. Just these type of metaphors. I'm not a snake or a pig or a rat. But
snakes have their transformation too.
Right. No, but I'm just saying. I'm still learning myself, and I'm still learning what to do and what not to do, what to say and what not to say, because I'm a real individual. I speak from the heart, so sometimes it doesn't come out right. I have word vomit sometimes. Sometimes I talk too much about things. People don't really like it because everything I'm going to say is the truth. So, so you got to just take the good with the bad. But I definitely want to be I want to be a good person. I want to be a person that...
What makes you think you're not a good person?
No, I'm not saying I'm not a good person now. What I'm saying is I want to be a better person. Like, I want to be... When I die, I want people to remember me...
That legacy.
As a person who was the underdog, who didn't stand for anything, but I still had a good heart. You know what I'm saying? Because I still don't hold grudges. Like, I don't hold grudges. Like, I forgive the guys who raped me. I forgive the person who molested me. You know what I'm saying? I forgive my ex, for all the fights and arguments we had, all the whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to. If you hold that,
and it's for you. It's
you
not for
exactly.
them.
You're not going nowhere in life if you hold grudges. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I can't deal with you no more like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got love for you from a distance, but I don't hate you to any of them or anybody who did wrong to me or I don't hate anybody because it's too much time. And I don't have that type of time. I got to put my energy in positive stuff, my kids and the things that I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And the things that I want to do. I don't have time to be hating nobody. It's too much. It requires too much time, and then it starts to show.
Right.
Because it consumes you. So no, God will have His vengeance, and hopefully I'm there with some popcorn. But if I'm not, God bless. You know what I'm saying? God bless. And that's it. But I don't hate nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't even, no, but I'm trying not to even hate the little boy that stabbed my son. I think I told you my son got stabbed in school.
No.
Yeah, my son got stabbed in school 2 years ago by this little boy. I'm not going to say his name because he's a minor. But, and he just turned around this year and stabbed my cousin and a friend within 24 hours. So now he's on the run. And the Rochelle Police Department drops the ball on a 15-year-old boy. How is a 15-year-old boy on the run with no resources and no money?
Wow.
15 years old and he's on the run. But he's been on the run for a month and a half, 2 months.
That's because he got help.
But I'm sure whoever's helping him is helping him. But it's like, New Rochelle Police Department, where are you? You just did a drug bust with 60 to 70 people a month ago, but you let a 15-year-old boy slip? Because you don't know where he's at?
They make more money doing the bigger stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, what are you waiting for? This little boy done stabbed 3 people within the course of a year and a half. So what are you waiting for?
Don't get me started on the police.
These drug dealers. I'm just saying.
That's a whole nother show.
I'm not saying that to say
which I want to have later in the year.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm not saying that to say anything because I love my city. I love New Rochelle, New York. I rep totally. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? What's right is right. You know, I'm not trying to turn this into a police anything. You feel me? I'm just saying, I'm just talking my experiences, But again, I don't even hate him because he's a little boy and he don't even know what he what he's doing.
And
to be
9 times
honest.
in 10, when kids is acting out and doing stuff of that nature,
Yeah, they need
it's
help.
They need help.
And it
something
comes from
they
the
see
home.
going on
That's
in
a
the
fact.
home.
That's a fact. In the
That's
home.
what I
He
was,
didn't learn that on the street. That's a fact.
That's what I was trying to express in my last show, that, you know, things happen and you have to look at all angles of it. It can't be just one angle of looking at something.
Yeah.
Because people do things for a reason.
Definitely.
And it's like, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't just look at everything from one side, because
Yeah.
one thing I don't do, honestly, when the news reports something,
Yeah,
it's like, exactly, because I'm like, they have to sell a story, and their job is to, in my opinion, turn people against each other and give stereotypes. And it's like, it's always more to a story than what they're willing to tell.
Exactly.
So, you know, I definitely want to have a show on that too, because that's my thing. Starting trouble. The rebel. yes. So I definitely, my heart goes out to you, and your son. Is he okay?
He's okay. He still has like a blood clot in his heart.
Mm-hmm.
So he still has, like, he plays basketball, but not to the lengths of that he used to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But he's okay. He's with us. Jehovah God spared him because he has a journey to go on himself, right?
Right.
And my cousin is okay too. He has the same thing as my son, you know, same injuries or whatever. But he's okay as well. They here, you know what I'm saying? And they're going to go on, hopefully, to be great men and share their story and do good things.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And the lawsuit is not going to help. It's going to help too. A multi-million-dollar, you know. But, you know, hopefully things will change with that whole situation in their show. Anyway, because if they don't, I plan to, when I get to where I'm going, I plan to make some changes if they don't make some changes within the New Rochelle
That's
school
what it's
district.
about, making changes.
So they better
influencing
do
that
it
change.
before I get to where I'm going, and I hope you guys hear me, because I mean business.
Oh,
like-
listen.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something, honey. When it comes to anything of that nature, if you're determined and you want something done, I don't care how big.
Listen,
If you ain't even got the money, let me tell you something. It can be done. Trust me. I done help people in extreme situations, honey.
yeah,
I'm talking about facing 40 years, falsely accused, fight 5 years, and I helped them without money get free. So trust me, anything can be done.
yeah.
Trust me.
Or I'll die trying.
Look, it almost took me.
It
It almost took me out,
Yeah.
but listen, I remember
It's like
press
the old
press
saying
fight.
says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall
Fall
for
for
anything.
Yes,
right?
yes,
So these are the
yes.
things I stand for.
yes.
You know,
And that's your baby.
advocating for domestic violence, woman empowerment. My friend, and holding her in memory, Glennis, and you know, making sure the youth out here know that they're loved and they're cared for, because like you said, people do things, especially the youth. I remember when I was a youth and why I was troubled. I remember why I was a troubled youth. I remember why I was out there fighting and doing the things that I was doing. I remember. I remember how I felt when I was going through these things. I was very angry at certain people. You know what I mean? And I didn't communicate that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't either. Right, I didn't know how, but they didn't either. You know what I'm saying? As the adults that they were. And I'm going to just leave that right there. But, you know, the youth is very important, because without them, there is no us. They are the future, regardless of what we think about them. And, you know, people talk about the mumble rappers and this, that, and the third, but they're young. Like, if nobody's going to guide them, then who are we to shun them?
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I mean, we're not doing our job.
That's right,
as the
because when I
elders.
was coming up, it was OGs, like, telling me, like, if it wasn't, like, somebody from my family, it was the ones in the street, like, the pimps, the drug dealers and all that. Like, if they seen me at school hours, knowing I was supposed to be at school, you got to go to school. You used to bring me to school. Like, oh, no, you going to school. You ain't doing this. You know, so I don't really see that much in this day and era. The older ones that are in the street is pushing these kids to do
Yeah.
certain things. Oh, you want to kill him? Here go a gun.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, and that's not the way. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Because that's
yep.
not the way we was brought up. And then when they do these things, they crazy and they this and they that. But no, they are who we made them.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Regardless
Product
if it's
of
in
the
the home
environment.
or in the street. Exactly. You know, so don't be so quick to write off the young because they the ones that's going to have to live after us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know.
Yep. So speaking on that, what you mentioned, you know, the legacy you wanted to leave behind. What are some of the legacies you guys want to leave behind? Lauren, you first.
Well, for me, the legacy, I'm just all about elevating others, but as far as elevating their mind and leaving an impact.
Mm-hmm.
I really want people to just live their best lives. I hate to hear when someone's just miserable, stuck, and don't know how. Get out there and find out.
Yeah,
Get connected
yeah.
with some people. Don't deal with that yourself. But as far as a legacy, I don't have any children yet, but I've said this before. I've been to like conferences. I'm grinding hard now for my future children.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, and I'm working like they here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yep,
Like, because it's like, I feel like at one point, I think when I turned 30, it was like a switch turned on, like, no, we gotta get moving.
Yeah.
But like, you know, even though if I don't have children right now, or if God don't bless me with children, I'm still going to work hard. Like, I have a baby sister out there, I got sisters and family. You know what I'm saying? So I'm living to the point that everything I'm doing is not in vain, for one, and that definitely as far as for my children, I don't want them to not have resources. I don't want them to not have any like care, nurturing, and love, and anything that I felt like I had a lack of. There's something I want to fill that void to. Anything that I did get, you know, I was raised with morals and things like that. I want to continue to implement that.
Right.
So, you know, a legacy, definitely to have something built where my children don't have to go to school for ages and forever to feel like they have to, you know, look at something in a brochure and they're like, oh, okay, I can see myself doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to provide resources for my children so that they can find who their true selves are early. And then they can go and build their businesses or whatever they want to do. If they want to go to school, I'll support that too. So that's definitely one thing as far as for my personal family. And just, you know, leaving a big impact for women, especially our sisters out there.
Yeah.
And this is just a great experience to be amongst, because, you know, a lot of us tearing each other down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know,
Competitive and catty.
side-eyeing and, you know, and things like that. So I love that. You know, that's definitely one of the things I'm just like, anything as far as women empowerment, put me there. Anything, especially for Black women empowerment, put me there 2 times. You know? It's like, because it's needed. It's not as many, like, I didn't grow up. I grew up with very strong women, but as far as in the business aspect, I was kind of on my own. You know what I mean? So it's like I had to figure out like where to go, who to you know.
That's what I had to do too.
You know, and things like that. What resources, and then you start finding out, and the people who you do, they're just coming up too. So we're all trying to figure it out together, which is great. But that's definitely something I definitely want to leave an impact as far as a business already there. So if my children want to run and go with it, it's there. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
What
was that post I put up with Tamara from The Real? I forgot. And she was talking about her children, and you commented under. That was definitely.
I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said that she was she became a talk show host so that she can have more time to be with her family and nurse.
Who said that?
Tamara.
Okay.
From The
Yes.
Real.
The twins.
That's really
needed.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we always think, oh, money, of course. You know what I mean? But to free yourself to have the time to be with them and things like that is super important. And it's like, that's why I'm working so hard now, because I don't have children. I mean, sometimes, you know, if you didn't prepare yourself and you have children early, you got to work 2 times as hard. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm grinding hard and doing the things I need to do and finding out who I am so I could be there for my children. So that's definitely a legacy for me.
And big shout out to Tamara Mowry for putting that up on Instagram.
I love that.
And The Real. I love all those ladies. So
I do too.
Leslie, what about you?
Really to eradicate the stigma around mental health. That is a conversation that we need to be very honest and open about.
That's right.
And also I think we have a bigger, I wouldn't say bigger, but we have a wide dialogue where people are starting to be more receptive. And so people are starting to call in and recognize, get help. But I also would love to encourage and empower future mental health providers, especially cultural competent mental health providers. There aren't too many of us. So if I can be a source of motivation for those who are deciding whether they want to be in this field, we need you. So as far as with my profession, yes. And with my family, when I leave, I don't want them to hustle and grind like I do.
Yeah. Exactly.
I really want to lay a foundation.
Exactly. That's what it's about, leaving a foundation and a legacy.
Because it's not easy.
You know what I mean?
It's not easy for us, especially women of color. So I do it for them. I don't have children, but I do have a family. So lay that foundation for them if they want to purchase property,
That's right.
or do whatever.
And you don't want them to work. I don't want my kids to work.
I
want them to be bosses and have their own businesses and be able to come and go as they please and don't have to punch in a clock and I can only take vacation for 3 days. You know what I'm saying?
You know how disempowering that is to be somewhere and work and you be like, I don't want to.
It's like,
you know what I mean? Like I remember I can't.
It's like Steve Harvey. It's like Steve Harvey said. He said he knew from young that he didn't want to work for nobody because he couldn't see himself answering to anybody else. Like, why do I have to have this person have control of my every woman? Whoa. You're going to tell me when I can go home to my wife and kids. You're going to tell me if I could, bring my kid to work or not. You're going to tell. And I felt him on every level about that because, you know what I'm saying? Who are you?
Exactly.
To tell me anything.
Yeah.
For that sake.
I hope you listening because you and I be talking about that. And I be telling her that all the time.
Right. We should be on all.
But definitely shout out to the people who did it. You know what
I mean?
Like my mom, she worked many jobs.
Listen, I worked many jobs as well, from 14 years old and up. But what I'm saying is, all the jobs that I worked, I noticed when he said that, I felt that because I remember every last one of those jobs that, you know what I'm saying, I had to go through that with. And me having kids, and even when I didn't have kids, you know what I'm saying, I remember all of that. So it's like, sometimes a lot of jobs, they take advantage. You know, and they don't like to give raises, for one. You know what I'm saying? They make people feel like, they're less than. You know what I mean? Now, I congratulate the bosses who are fair and just and make you feel, but a lot of them out there make you feel like you are less than a worker, even though you are the worker. And every boss started out as a worker. I don't give a damn what they said unless they was handed it. You know, if it went down from a generation like we're saying we want to do. But other than that, you worked to become a boss, a supervisor, or whatever. You started as a worker. So you should never, ever forget that when you become a boss, how it was when you was the worker. You understand what I'm saying? Just like they say, the customer is always right. You should never forget that going forward when you become up in success. That's where the humility comes in at. Right. But a lot of people don't have that.
That's why they always say stay in stage one.
That's right. That's right.
It's basically staying humble. Like just because you didn't got to stage 4 and 5. Exactly. What it's like to be in stage 1.
Exactly.
And it's good when you say shout out to those that are working, but you have to understand as far as with women, and not entrepreneurs, not for everyone. Only 3% of the population really are entrepreneurs.
That's a fact. Because this is strong. You got to have tough skin, like we've been talking about here. Especially women.
Tough. Exactly.
Especially.
And that's my point. For women, we know the wage gap is so disturbing. Right now, I think we make 78 cents for every dollar. And then when you're a woman of color, it's less.
That's right. Whether it's Latino or not, because we are women of color as well.
And so the research shows for you to close that gap, for a woman to close that gap, is to own your own business.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Because we will hire other women,
That's
work
right.
with other women,
Yes.
and we have control of our finances
That's
as
right.
well. So
Right.
for those who are thinking about it, think twice.
Then you don't have to worry about
control.
sexual harassment and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Not saying we all went through that, but, you know, that's a big ladder
It's
part.
huge.
I mean,
It's
look
huge.
what's
It's
going
real.
on now.
Absolutely.
These people who are in power, these famous people are coming out like, oh, he did this. You know,
Yeah.
the Me Too,
Look
the
at
whole
that.
Me
That's
Too,
right.
the Me
Yeah.
Too Foundation.
People you would have
and stuff.
never thought.
And I'm not saying
Yeah.
everybody was telling the truth, and I'm not saying everybody's lying. But I mean,
numbers don't lie.
They
God
don't.
damn.
And think about the ones
Everybody
still
can't
not
be lying.
talking.
This
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's why I said I had to come here today to speak on what I had to speak on, because, you know, holding that whatever I went through yesterday would have just been a disservice to myself and anybody else who's listening to this. Any little girl, I hope that I got her ear, or you know what I'm saying, whomever, even my kids, if I don't know something, they didn't tell me or something. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I had to let that go. You know what I'm saying? Because it would have been just a big disservice. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you for coming.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.
all of you for having me.
Katia, what about you and your with your legacy?
My legacy. Well, I wouldn't say my biggest legacy is just to be able to keep bringing lipedema to a bigger platform, and to keep the awareness alive. Also, the women's health, because not only is it's such a big gap with the service of medical help for women of color, but women in general, because a lot of times, in being in urban communities, we don't get the proper medical treatment that we need. And a lot of times we don't go to the doctor like we should. And a lot of times people don't realize prevention is the best way. You understand what I'm saying? Because coming back once the disease is there, you have a 50-50 chance. You know? And if you're in the area where the medical help and the medical training might be subpar, the likelihood of you surviving whatever might be wrong is going to be even lower than if you of other culture or in a better area. So my whole thing of it is to keep bringing on a bigger platform, early prevention, know your body, and advocate for yourself. That's one of my biggest things.
Definitely.
I don't care whether it's for your health, your rights, anything. You know, you have to be strong in your conviction, strong in your spot and your power, and just know that you deserve better and you deserve to be heard. And don't let anybody tell you to be quiet, because guess what? They got a mouth just like you do, and you have a right to be heard.
And I think everybody's feelings is valid. Everybody's feelings is valid. And doesn't matter who they are, where they come from.
And that's mainly my biggest legacy, because even from a child, I was a Girl Scout. I knew.
Oh, me too. And a brownie.
I knew growing up that my life was going to be with service, because when I first went off to college, I was pre-med. So I already knew I was going to be somewhere. I was going to be serving people.
Someone,
So it was already pretty much in my DNA. I took care of my mother from when she became mentally ill from the 4th grade. So I literally became an adult. I might have been 9, 10 years old. So from that, but that's my legacy, to be able to show that no matter what, no matter who, or no matter whatever circumstances, you can still keep going, and you can still bring a light, and you can still bring power to anyone, you know. And that's my biggest legacy, because I didn't know when I came out the shadows with my disease and I decided to do a TV show and stuff, I didn't realize how much power just by me showing my legs was going to help somebody. I've had women come to me saying that I saved their lives because they didn't know what was going on with their body, and now they do. You understand what I'm saying? And that really hit home for me, because I knew my story and my journey will help others, but to hear it and people to come and tell you, you saved my life. I didn't take my life because it's just really serious. You understand what I'm saying? And because through my journey, if it wasn't for me being there, my mother would have took her own life. So it just showed, it went round circle. I was there to get her help, and then my story was there to help some others. So that's my legacy, to help somebody keep living and know that you could keep going no matter how dark and glim and gloomy that road may look. There's still light at that end. You just have to keep pushing to get back to it. But there's still light there. There's always light there. You just open your eyes and look up. It's there.
And keep the faith.
That's it. That's all
what
you
I
have
do.
to
I just keep that faith.
Also, I just put on Instagram as far as a quote when it was like, a lot of times when people think they're in a darkness, they think they've been buried. But how about you've been planted?
I saw that one.
You know what I mean? Like, that was like big, because I know your darkest space is where you find yourself. You know what I mean? Your darkest space is where you get real deep. You get what I'm saying? You start figuring it out, and you start asking questions why, and you start getting spiritually connected, whatever your beliefs are. Like, them dark spaces is real. It's hard, but it builds you. You know what I mean? And it's like you're being planted. I know that's where, like, I was birthed through my dark. You know what I'm saying? That's where LC.Thriva comes out. That's where the real of me. And sometimes if I am ever going through something again, I kind of refer back to that. Those dark times. Even being kicked out the Navy and all that. I had to look back at those things, and like you said, it one of you ladies said it builds you to know, like, your true strengths. And then you start being proud of yourself, because everything that you do is really about your own self and your own ability of your self-image. You know, that's where mental health really comes from, as far as your own self-image and your power of what you see within yourself.
That's right.
So those dark spaces is needed, and I know for me, like, when I go through stuff or whatever, I recently had a concussion, I actually say that was a gift. You know, thank you. You know, thank you for those things. Thank you for those dark spaces, because you really get built through that. And for anybody who's going through dark spaces right now, like, really just, you know, I mean, keep your faith or whatever, but it's going to be something that really comes out of that. You haven't been buried. You've been planted, and you will bloom. You have to.
Like a rose from concrete.
Exactly.
My Tupac.
My Tupac. I had to reference him. That was my brother, my everything. That's my mentor right there.
Yes. He helped me through a lot.
Everything.
A lot.
Everything.
His
Rest
music
in peace, Tupac Amaru Shakur.
Everything. Yes, very conscious and very influential. Like
everything.
like,
even though it's raw and cursed, but
yes.
you really listen to what he's saying.
Sometimes you need the raw.
Yes.
Well, that's because he can speak out to our community.
Exactly.
And if you're saying the other things, they're not going to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So he had to go to the, you know, the gangbangers and all those things, so they can really hear. Like, because that don't mean that just because you're a gangbanger or
that don't mean
you
you're a bad person.
That's what I be trying to tell people too, because I think the biggest misconception with anything is that, like you said, when you walked in, you can't judge a book by its cover.
That's right.
Because I know people who grew up in difficult situations who turned to drug dealing because they needed to put food on the table. And they're good people. And it's like, when you listen to their story, you like, oh my God, wow.
But
and
most people are in survival mode.
Exactly.
And
it's
you
like,
can easily say, oh, they didn't have to do you. You don't know what
exactly.
they had. At that time. You don't know what cards. People don't know what people's cards are dealt. You don't know. Because you're not there. It's not your hand.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not your, exactly. From birth. Some people are dealt a bad hand from birth.
And you know what the thing of it is? If you see somebody, if they're doing something like that, and you see they going down the wrong road, and you see, you know, it's a reason why they're out there doing it.
That's right.
Instead of saying, oh, you could do something different. Instead of saying, you know, how about, you know what? Can I help you? Is there any way?
Hear their story.
Right.
You really hear.
But it's more what she said. Can I help you?
Exactly.
If you're not for the solution, you're the direct problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the
if
whole.
you want to talk about it.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because if you could talk about it, you could help.
Yeah. Don't
just, you know what I'm saying? Go your way. But don't sit and judge and point fingers when you living in a glass house. If we all live in a glass house, so nobody can be cast in stone.
No.
When I worked in the criminal justice.
Oh,
wow.
God.
And I've been to
All of us said.
not on that side of the criminal justice.
Oh, okay. Look, we still said
everybody.
I was on the side to help people who were struggling with drug abuse,
Okay.
mental health,
Yeah.
and some of them were drug dealers. I've never, and I've gone to the Rikers Island, to the prisons.
God
yeah,
bless you.
yeah, I've done that.
God bless.
I have not met a drug dealer say, yeah, this is what I wanted to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've never met
Absolutely.
in survival,
Or
or
the
this is
fittest.
what the family. This was
Exactly.
a family
Yes.
business.
Right.
Yes.
I was
This is
born
what
into
was
this
expected.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
And
right.
hope, and then
Gang
hope.
banging, too.
Exactly.
Yep.
This is what they were taught. That was their foundation.
That's right.
And so they were hoping that their children didn't follow.
Yes.
But I'm here. This is all I know. Who's giving me a job? I've already have a. So I have not. So when I say working in the criminal justice, that was the side advocating that they didn't go to prison. Really,
Yeah.
that they needed help, or
Was you
they
in
needed
a-
vocational training.
Was you in Rikers when Khalif Browder was there? Did you go there when Khalif?
This was like in the 90s.
Oh,
Long time.
Yeah,
ago.
Khalif
Yeah,
Browder.
when he was there, maybe that was the time he said I looked
Yeah.
for.
You know what? And that
It's
was
about
the-
conditioning. Like everything that anybody do is all about a conditioning. And it's three ways of how you're being conditioned. As far as what you saw visually, what was told to you, and your experiences. So if you're around there all the time,
All the
it's
time.
told to you, saw it, and
Exactly.
your experience. It's
That's
like
all
these
you
are
know.
things you come. So you basically what everyone is based on those three levels of conditioning. You know what I mean? Now that doesn't mean that has to be your story though.
Right,
Once you
right.
do that, you can rewrite your story and change and create an image of who you are and who you want to be. You
That's
know?
just a
Right.
stepping stone.
Exactly.
So
Like I applaud people who go through situations like the ones we're talking about, and then they become somebody like Jay-Z or something.
Yes.
And it's like
Yes,
because
I love
people
it. I love those
underestimate people
That's right.
in those situations.
That's
And
right.
it's like, in my opinion, they know more than the average person. They know how to deal with people a little bit better. They know how to manage money more. Some may know how to manage
Some of
money
them.
better.
Right.
Some of them.
Right.
And it's like, I think they have that drive to move even harder than most people, because it's like, for them, they're saying in the back of their head, I can't go back to that lifestyle. I don't want to go back to that. So
Yeah.
I need to move ahead. Like you said, the different levels.
Yeah.
So it's like, when people judge them, I'm like, you have to know their story.
And walked in their shoes.
Exactly. You can't just cut them off because they're human beings also.
right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all God's children at the end of the day, whether you believe in
Yep.
God or not.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like Tupac said, you just can't cut me off like that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because we are what you made us.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. Like,
Exactly.
You know what I'm
And that's why,
saying?
like, I love this show too, because that's what I want to do, bring different people experiences to the platform or to a microphone, because I think it has to be told everyone is not the same. Everyone has a different life.
Yeah.
And like you said, instead of putting them down, say, can I help you?
Exactly.
So I
Be a
definitely,
help.
yes.
Be a service, whether
Exactly.
it's verbally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Help.
Mhm.
Teamwork makes the dream work,
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
People
you
don't
can't-
understand
yeah,
that.
that's true.
Yes.
can't do
You
this
get
alone.
more honey with
Yes.
you get more
It's
bees
like a
with
village.
honey, right?
Yes.
I'm telling you, people don't understand. Everybody's out for, oh, I'm a boss and it's me and it's me and it's no.
There's never a self-made
Not
anything.
just you.
I mean, I
Never.
hear people
Yeah.
when they say that, but there had to be somebody. You can't do anything on your own.
Yeah,
It takes a
somebody
village.
helped everybody. Trust
Yeah,
me.
period.
It started from paying it off from
I
somewhere.
mean,
Yeah.
you
And
may
you
feel
gotta
like
give
it's
it back.
dope.
Exactly,
And
and
you
you
have
gotta
to
give
give it
back.
back.
You
That's
gotta,
the thing.
in some
Yeah,
way, shape,
acknowledge
form,
it.
or fashion, you gotta give it back. Whether it be monetarily, whether it be
Time.
voluntarily,
Yeah,
you know, I was gonna say
exactly.
voluntarily, whether whatever, you gotta pay it forward.
Yeah.
You got to
That's
pay
right.
it forward.
Yes.
People, you gotta pay it forward.
Yes.
I don't care, because if you don't pay it forward, life is gonna pay it for you.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I'm serious.
Yes, you are
I'm
100%
serious.
right. You
You
see
don't
it all
humble
the time.
yourself,
Yeah.
life will humble you
Yes.
to the point where, you know, maybe you might not be here no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
I agree.
you got to pay it forward. And you
Yes.
got to give out the same energy that you want. You
Yes.
know, if you want this type of energy, you got to give that energy out.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be respected, you got to respect yourself first, and you got to respect people.
Yes.
You know, you want somebody nice and loyal and trustworthy and all that, you got to be that
Yes.
person. Don't
Yes.
expect a loyal female or a loyal man or, you know, this person and that person if you're not that in your heart of hearts.
Right.
If you got to know another ulterior motive, that's the person you're going to get. That's the
Yeah.
person you're going to attract. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
That attraction is very, very, very important, because like you said, what you give out is what you get.
What you
And
give is what you
that's
get.
why it's very important that you know who you are, you comfortable
Where
with
you
who
come
you
from.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You gotta embrace that fully,
Mhm.
especially where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause if you don't know where you came from, you don't know. You're not gonna go where you're trying to get to.
Yep. Exactly.
At all.
Journey gonna get cut short.
Definitely. And you'll be down this avenue, down that avenue. You know, you gotta always remember where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it may not be good. You might not like where you came from, but you gotta
Yeah,
embrace
you own
that.
it and then you build
Exactly.
from it.
Yep. Exactly. So it's 3:38. What I want to do, I know. Then I told all of you I had questions, but when you get here, it's gonna turn into something different.
Ask the questions.
You gotta go with the flow, right?
Yes.
Right.
God's plan. God's plan.
Yes.
But yeah, ask your questions. Baby.
No, I asked like most of them, and everyone just went around and basically covered everything. So, so if there's anyone who have questions, you could call in at 914-969.
Yes, call in. Ask me anything,
64999.
guys.
718-705-4959.
Thank you.
So yes, I greatly appreciate this because this is what I'm always after, that open dialogue. Because you, like Malagrios said, you never know who's listening.
Yeah.
And
Or
if we could, or watching, and if I could help someone with my guests, that's like that's what the biggest thing I want to do, because I can't do that at work. So
No, you can only do what they tell you to do.
exactly.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Exactly. So this is big for me, and I greatly appreciate everyone coming here.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
for having us here.
And
Yes.
I like that
Glad
question
to
with the
be-
legacy. People have to understand when you're in this, especially with business, your why has to be bigger than you.
Mhm.
You can be top priority, but when you say, "Oh, I'm doing this for my family," you have that obligation. There's an obligation. Think about having a partner. You know, let's do accountability. Or you have a fitness partner. You know you're not going to let them down. But if it's up to you, say, you know what? I'll go to the gym next time.
Mhm.
Right.
But if someone is waiting for you and counting on you, there's a self-obligation. So when you talk about your why, your legacy, and if it's bigger than you, it'll help you go through those struggles and help you understand and through those struggles. So as far as always keeping that why in front of you, because yes, we will go through it.
And
Yes.
you gotta dig
Yes.
deep with that. Like, it can't be superficial at all.
No,
Like,
it can't
I
be. It
say
has to
if
be
you want to
bigger
put
than you.
Yeah, it has to be bigger than you. But I always say if you put the acronym of why is what hurts you.
Mhm.
What hurts you? What hurts you bad enough that you're willing to do it? Like, even if I get a new fitness client, like, I don't even really take clients when they be like, "Oh, the summer's coming up," and
Right,
no,
right.
you don't really want to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, like that's why I have clients that I still have for 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, because it was a lifestyle change for them. Like, I'm a lifestyle and a holistic fitness coach. You get what I'm saying? And I've trained Nina. Like, she, you know how I am. I'm very more on what do you want to do. I'm not getting you to do this 5-10 step shake, and you know what I mean. Like, it's just like okay, so I get to know who you are. What do you already do? What are your foundations? Like, anything you want to do, even on as far as when I'm working with people in their business, like when they say, "Oh, Lauren, I got this business I want to do, why do you want to do it?" If they even say like, "Oh, I'm just trying to do it, I need to make money," never go in business just to make money, because you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. And then, I mean, I get it. We all have to pay our bills. We all want to go and hustle.
Yes.
And I mean, I have seen people who built business where they know it made a good money and it was quick and it goes. But then you take that to do something that you really wanted to do, because
you
you're
have
not
to be
going to go for
passionate.
long. Yeah, you got to be
That's where it
passionate.
starts. You have
It has to be
passionate.
enough
The
that
money
it
will
hurts
come.
you.
The money
Yeah.
will come.
Yes.
If you know why,
Money will
It
come.
will come in abundance.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But you gotta be passionate.
gotta
about
be
it.
passionate.
You just
Yeah.
can't be like
So
everybody's
that's why
like,
I
I'm
said
in
it
it for the
can't
bag,
be
I'm in it for-
superficial.
Yeah, you be in it for the bag, but be passionate about what you in it for.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
You
the
know
money
what
will,
I'm
The
will
super,
follow.
you
Yeah.
will
will
quit.
You could
You
work.
will
You
quit.
could work a 9 to 5 to get it.
Exactly.
For the money. If
That's
that's
right.
what it is.
That's right.
You
All
do that.
depending on what 9 to 5 you could get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
back.
And here's the thing: when someone do, as far as like, oh, I'm just securing the bag, right? So
Yeah.
I come from a network marketing, right? So which
Yeah.
is known to jump on and you sell like 5 shakes and you quit. You get what I'm saying? Because there's another new opportunity out
Right,
there.
it's another new trend.
So when
right.
you are doing, and that's why I say it can't be superficial, because if you're
Right.
just going with that, there's going to be something else to take you off your rocker. You got to find something, because then you're just going to keep jumping around and just not feeling
You're a
fulfilled.
trend.
No focus.
Yeah.
No
You're a
focus.
trend. You're
Right,
not
you're not
Ralph Lauren.
fulfilled.
Mhm.
So then
That's right.
the
Right?
thing is
Ralph
really find
Lauren
what you
played
want.
forever.
Yes,
He didn't trend out.
exactly.
Still,
So you're going to
people
jump
still,
and jump.
People still, you know,
Always.
wearing Ralph Lauren polo, right?
Mhm.
And he played forever.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? It's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. You
You
gotta
can't be
you gotta
jumping
make
from
sure
this
it's
ship to
something.
that ship. Which one you gonna be the captain of? This one or that one?
Yeah.
Or that one or that one? It'll always be ships coming. pulling
Okay,
in and out.
Malagrios, you talking about me now. So.
Oh God. Okay.
Me
I'm
with
sorry,
my
I didn't mean to tell
Well,
that.
what you
But no,
mean?
that's it's also called trial and error too now.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I was gonna
That's
say,
true.
wait,
Yeah.
Nina, I know you.
So-
So what you mean
So you
by that?
can't say, no, because
Maybe
listen,
she's saying
trial.
the same
When
in
I
her
say
life,
trial and
a
error,
little bit.
because what you might try might not be where your life is now really going to.
That's
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
So
you
that's why I
still
say
get
trial
root
and
to your core.
That's
You
right,
still get
yeah.
root to who you are.
Right.
If it was ever superficial, you're not going to go. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I've moved and leveled up
Me
and jumped
too,
on
yeah.
bandwagons. But
Yeah.
the thing was, it was all because of finding out who was my true self.
Right.
What was my
Yes,
true
right.
why, what I
Calling,
wanted
your
to
true
go.
calling.
Exactly.
And then when I might have started something and built, like my business had took a big spin around, because as far as with Thrive Budding, I wasn't
Yes.
working with women network marketer. I mean,
Oh.
I was working with just network marketers, male and female. And then
Oh,
it
okay.
shifted. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I want to work with women entrepreneurs and really work in this lane, because there's so many people who are so lost in this business. And that lane, it shifts. So it wasn't
Mhm.
like, but my why was so deep still. It's still, nothing ever changed. It was all about impact.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's fine to shift. So I'm like, you still have your core. You might have tried different things or whatever, but so what do you mean by that?
I mean, like for
what did you
me,
mean by
when
that?
she was talking about moving around and everything and talking about money, that was my focus of when I got into work. Money. I wanted that money from
Virgo
investment
shit
banking.
only.
Virgo
But
shit
look how
only.
I mean, you still
Yeah.
got there and look what it shifted. Because
But I've
You
been
still
to
get thrown
so
off.
many different positions because every time I would get comfortable, somebody would call me, well, we paying $40 more. Or then when I get to the $40 more, we're paying $20 more. Oh, crew, somebody calling.
you changed jobs when you was working with me. I
Mhm.
remember.
Yep.
But see, that's different. That's a job. That's hustle. You do what you
Hello.
gotta do.
In the mixed radio.
Is it on?
Did I do it right?
See the one that says 718? Unmute it. See right there, the red button that says 718?
Right here?
Yes, press that. There you go. Now it's on.
Hello, in the mixed radio, Miss Malagrios.
Hi, I have a question for the guest of the Nina Monique show.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
What's your name?
My name's Ivana.
Hi, Ivana.
What's
Hi.
And where are you calling from, Ivana?
I'm from New York, but I'm calling from London right now.
Oh, I was just in
Hello.
London a couple of weeks ago. Are you enjoying?
I'm enjoying the show immensely.
Okay.
Is this Curvy Lexi?
Is it what?
Curvy
I'm sorry.
Lexi.
Are you from Instagram?
I'm a friend of Leslie Garcia's, and I'm
Oh.
watching the show, and I'm enjoying the conversation a lot because
Oh.
I think
I
everybody,
know who it is.
anytime women get together, the conversation is just incredible.
Ah, thank you. Did you want to add anything to our conversation or ask anything?
I actually wanted to ask, I'm always interested, I know the lady talked a lot about faith, and I'm a big believer in faith where, the clouds are covering you and you think there's no way the sunshine's going to come, and it does. And I'm always wondering if any of you have that one miracle story that you can share with the listeners that made you realize, like, okay, when the bottom was about to fall out, that miracle came through. And if you feel comfortable sharing it, I'd love to hear it.
I was just say Katia.
The miracle that came through. Okay, well, in 2013, I lost my eye, and then I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me if I don't have a surgery, I wasn't going to make it too much longer. And went home, got on the internet, and started looking up the one part of the condition I had, lymphedema. And then I got on the website, and it showed me something about lipedema. And they said, they had the two diseases together. And when I went up there, and I noticed that I fit lipedema even more. And they said, if you have this, go to these support groups. I went to the support groups. And I actually found my surgeon, who's named Dr. Gruner from New York Surgical, and I made an appointment, and I went there, and I was finally diagnosed after suffering years with this disease, and he took me on as a patient because a lot of doctors I went to wouldn't take me on because I was too far gone, and he took me on, and he saved my life because I was having such bad infections and everything, and if it wasn't for him jumping on faith and taking a chance on me, I'm still here. And it made it able so I can be here and help other women to come behind me. And I was kind of a pioneer because I was actually the first stage 4 woman to be operating in the United States after the German doctor came over to train a couple of the doctors, because there's only a handful of trained doctors who really knows about lipedema and who can operate properly on it.
Oh, wow.
So it's a big thing, and I'm just grateful and I'm blessed.
Definitely blessed. Highly favored.
So if it wasn't for him doing that, I wouldn't have been here to be even help my mother in her last days.
Oh, wow.
So it's a blessing.
Great
it's
story.
A big blessing. So yeah.
So that's a miracle story for you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Is there any other questions you would like to ask, Miss? What's your name again?
Ivana.
Ivana.
Yes. I guess my other question is, if any of you have a mentor that you feel that kind of turned your life around at a pivotal point, because I think, especially when you think about businesses, men always have mentors, and I think women, like you were mentioning, sometimes you feel like, are the women catty or they're looking out for each other, but I think women to women mentoring is really important. So if any of you have a woman mentor you want to talk about, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I don't have a woman mentor, but I think we all agreed to Tupac Shakur. Definitely Tupac. Tupac brought me through Tupac brought me here today to this radio show with him and my prayers to Jehovah. Like, seriously, maybe because of the way his mother raised him, you know what I'm saying? So maybe I'm going to give it to Tupac and Afeni. But definitely inspired by Tupac. He was my mentor. I've known him personally, and his mom. And, he was a real genuine, sincere soul. And we spoke about that earlier on the show, where, you have to hold the ones who's genuine and sincere and loyal, very close to you, because it's not a lot of people out here. It's a lot of people, with ulterior motives and, just the devil in their heart and soul. So, at all of his messages, whether they were cursing or whatever, like, what's her name? Lauren. Like Lauren said, they were all projected into something positive. I don't care what song it was. You got a message out of Tupac's song. And then he has a whole book called The Rose That Grew from Concrete of poems. So if you didn't get it from his music, you got it from his poems, And I can definitely say that to this day, in my age, in my tender young years, Tupac has helped me through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes. Definitely.
Yes.
In his life and in his death.
Yes. And for me, I could definitely say also, it was Tupac also, and Katia. Because when I met her, I was in the middle of trying to figure out exactly what it is I wanted to do, and she kept telling me, you have a voice, use it. You want to help people. And through her, this is how I give her credit for this show that I have now, because it's through her that I have this. I met Sean through her, who, when I came on the show, Sean asked me to come on the show to talk about my clothing line I had at the time. That's right. And then he was like, so why don't you have why don't you join my show? That's right. And then now I have my own show. So Katia, I definitely thank her for that, because with her encouragement and just from her being the genuine person that Malagrios was mentioning, I greatly appreciate her encouragement. Because of her, the Nina Monique show has been born.
Has erected.
But that's
that's exactly why, Ivana, that was a very good question because I feel like that's where the power comes from. Like with me being a woman fitness trainer and a woman coach, you get what I'm saying? A lot of people do look at it like as far as men, you know, they're more dominant, so they go for it. Like I remember to this day, I had a lady came up to me. This is when I used to work in the gym, and she was assigned a male trainer, and then he couldn't do it or take the time, but because of the credentials that she asked for, I was the only one specialized for that. And she said, I don't really want to work with a woman, like da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, it's fine. She ended up seeing how I train, how I worked, and ended up working with me. But I think it's so much power when you finally take that chance to be willing to open up and allow a woman to help you, because two women working together, if you could put the cattiness to the side, so much power comes into that. Like when I have my coaching calls, or even when I'm working in my fitness business, all my clients are women. I might have had just a handful of men. And there's so much power, like, and just to see, we recognize and understand now, you do have to be stern enough and able to move aside the, you know, the emotionals and the catty and all those things. But there is a lot of power in working with a woman. I had a male mentor, but I also had a female mentor that really saw like the true power with me. I think it's always good to find a balance in what works for you. But I'm glad that you asked that question, because man, I feel like a lot of times I'm overlooked because I am a female or whatever the case may be, and what could be done. And I think there's so much power if more women would be willing to work together.
Hi, Ivana. Thank you for calling in and listening. That's a great question. I actually, on my way here, Nina knows I was on a call with my mentor. We were on a mastermind. So I was on the phone driving. Her name is Wendy. So she
Not Wendy
is
Williams.
amazing.
That was a joke. Shout out to Wendy.
Yeah, right. Shout out to her. So I have a few mentors, but one thing, there have been times where I said, listen, I'm not doing this anymore. There are times I wanted to quit, and they will push you. They will push you. One thing, mentors, screen them. You definitely need to do your research, interview them. But a lot of times they see what I've witnessed and what I've experienced. They see something in you that I don't, that I have not seen. They'll put the mirror in your face and say, "You got this." She has me plan to do some type of retreat overseas, and this is what you're gonna do. And I said, "What?" Because you got this. Exactly. And they always look behind the scenes on, I'm watching you. You're planting the seeds. I'm watching what you're doing. Do it this way, or do. They will be very open and also very honest on your challenges and also your strengths. So I always encourage. I wish I would have had a mentor when I first started. Me too. I really, because they've been through the challenges. They know what you're going through. And I only have women mentors. I'll be open to having a man mentor, but right now it has helped me tremendously to make money, to really be focused, connect me with people that I would not have access to.
I don't think anybody should ever move forward to do anything. You need a mentor, period.
Always.
I don't have a woman mentor, but I do aspire to be like Princess Diana for a long time, because I liked what her whole thing was about. It was about giving back and helping people, and until her dying day. Right. And she stayed humble as a princess, as a whatever, So, but I don't have a mentor. Maybe I need one.
It's always important.
I had a mentor.
You need a mentor.
A woman mentor. And,
that's what I'm saying.
And she was my Girl Scout leader from the 4th grade all the way up into my high school. In the high school, she was my Girl Scout leader. She was my mentor, and she was also later became my godmother. And she came into my life at the one point in my life was the darkest, when my mother became mentally ill. So when I tell you, she's been there through all my ups and downs, and she saw my lows and she saw my triumphs, and she's been there with me. She was even on a TV show with me, what I did with TLC. So she was really there, and she taught me so much, and she taught me humility, helping others, and being there for people, and not allowing anything or any situation veer you off from where you want to go. And she taught me so much, and I was lucky enough to have that mentor at a point in my life where I needed that woman figure, strong woman figure. You know what I'm saying? I had my grandmother, but she worked. But it's always good to surround yourself around a lot of people who's strong, because a child, especially a young girl, needs that. You know what I'm saying? Because it determines whether or not you're going to veer off and go into the great waters, so to say. So she was an excellent mentor, Miss David Minheim. I love her to death.
Well, shout out to her, Miss David Minheim.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you for tuning in, Miss Yvonne. What's her name, Miss Yvonne?
Yes.
And is London?
Well,
is London dreary today? Is it rainy? Is it foggy?
it's rainy and a little bit snowy, as the rain is always a little bit around.
always.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ivana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so
We have
much.
another caller, okay?
Oh, wow.
Take care.
Thank you, Ivana.
In the mix, Miss Malagrios, how may I help you?
How you doing? I'm trying to call in on the hotline.
Oh, hi, Uncle Joe.
In
How
the
are
mix
you?
radio.
Hey.
Oh, it's Nina's
Hey,
husband.
thank you for my voice,
I'm like, Miss Malagrios, how can I help you? I was at work. I'm Malagrios, how can I help you?
Hi, Uncle Joe. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, I just want to say I'm very proud of you. The show is excellent.
Thank you.
And I did want to say my mentor, my mother, okay, she taught me just about everything I know. Okay, big up to my mother, who is in a nursing home right now. She's going through Alzheimer's right now, and I'm praying that God will remove that cloud that's over her head right now. But she has been my rock, okay, and I would say just about everything I do is in respect for her.
Yes.
You know, and everything I don't do is out of respect for her.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying, you know.
Totally.
I always look at and I try to encourage my sons to always be mindful of your parents, you know.
Yes.
Don't disrespect your parents.
At all.
Okay, so a lot of these guys and girls who decide to go the wrong way, okay, they are not thinking about the legacy that they're a part of. I'm a part of my mother's legacy. Okay. Nina is a part of my legacy. Okay, there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of love that I share with Nina. You know, so I am very proud of where she is right now, and I look forward to seeing her grow even more. And I appreciate you guys for befriending her.
Oh, well, thank you, Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe. Jimmy.
I'm not gonna take up much of your time. I'm calling from Huntersville, North Carolina, which is right outside of Charlotte. So, you know, you guys keep loving my Nina.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Uncle Joe.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. My mother having up all hearts right now.
That's my mom. She's on all my stuff. That's my baby. I'm so happy. Yes.
Well, we definitely had a good
Yes.
show, Nina.
Yes,
we did.
You know what? The show. Okay, let me wrap up.
Yes.
Because it's 4:00. But I definitely, if anyone, do anyone have to leave right away?
No.
Okay, because I'll definitely, while cruise shut down, I'm sure he'll let us sit in here. With our computers, I definitely want to continue talking.
Yes. I would love that.
Yes. So, to everyone that's listening, thank you very much for calling in, and thank you so much. Like, this conversation was the greatest. This show and the last show I had and the show before that, thank you so much. I definitely love having something like this because I think it's needed. You know, the show was about women influencing entrepreneurs.
I mean, the show was about the real.
Yes,
and that's it.
Yes, because we all influence in our own way.
In our own way.
So, Malagrios, thank you so much. Your
you.
story is so powerful, and so
Thank
many
you.
people go through that and are afraid to talk about it.
Yeah,
But
I've been afraid, but it's time. You know what
Thank
I'm
you.
saying? So
thank you.
I really appreciate you
Thank
having
you.
me, and I really appreciate you
I appreciate
Yes.
you.
women
Thank you.
listening and giving me positive feedback
Yes.
today.
Mhm.
I needed it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Yes, all of you are beautiful women, and I just wish the best for all of you. And you're powerful. Let no one ever tell you anything different. And I'm gonna see all of you at the top. Definitely, we already at the top.
At my show.
Yeah.
So I gotta have you guys at my show too.
Let's do it.
We'll have
Let's
to like
do it.
exchange numbers.
Yeah.
Because we gotta do this again at Rough Rider
Yeah.
Radio.
Yeah.
Everybody think, Rough Rider Radio is like, hood and ghetto. Like, they love stuff like this. They have ladies' night and stuff like that, with Miss Info and, so.
Miss
Yeah.
Info, really? That's what she is?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
nice.
we have, I want to bring this element for my show as well because, I just don't want to attract rappers even though I love trap music.
I mean, we all do.
I gotta have you guys over
I would
here.
love to.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
all gotta switch numbers. And,
Yes,
actors
definitely.
and stuff like that.
Crews, come in here and shut down. Before we go,
Shut
though,
down, Cruzy.
I want everyone here to give out, their Instagram information so people could contact you because this was a very powerful show, and I want everyone to continue to be inspired by all of you because you inspire me. So everyone go ahead and start with Lauren, your Instagram.
So you guys can find me. My website is thrivewithlc.com. If you want any as far as my fitness website is LCFitsYou. That's LCFITSYOU. Instagram is at LC.Thriva, LCTHRIVA. Fitness business is at LCFitsYou.
My website is counselingpc.com. That's counseling, P as in Paul, C as in cat.com. You can follow me on social media channels at Counseling Space, one word. And my second business is CEOmotions.com.
The website to the nonprofit is thelipidemaqueen.org. THELIPEDEMA Queen QUEEN.org. And on Facebook, we have the Lipidema Queen, and on Instagram, the Lipidema Queen also.
Miss Malagrios.
And Miss Malagrios, Instagram is Miss Malagrios, MISSMALAGRIOS. Twitter is Baddie Molly, BADDIE MALLIE. Snapchat is Miss Caponer, MISSKAPONER. And Facebook is Malagrios De'Jesus, MALAGRIOSDE-JESUS. I hope you guys got that and didn't go over your head.
And for the Nina Monique Show, make sure you go to the Facebook page, The Nina Monique Show, and I'm at Miss Nina Monique or The Nina Monique Show on Instagram. So on that note, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you to my beautiful guests. Thank you.
Yes.
And everyone have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.
Have a great Saturday, guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Kiss me, I'm Irish. Bye, guys.
Yes.
I am, though. My grandfather's Irish. That was a good one.
Yes.
I did good, right, with the answer.
Okay, stay there,
Like,
stay
that
there.
was like my
Pull the mic. No, pull them to it.